How's it going, guys? Elimination race, but before the elimination race, my boys, they won today, so I just want to put that right at the beginning of the video, just so you guys know. They won today, they're good. Alright, so now, let's get into the race. So today, Kansas, if you didn't see it, I'll catch you up. If you did see it, hopefully you enjoyed my videos, and if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. Plug. I came off as a huge dick right there, I don't know why. Anyways, the start of the race. So, there were 4 drivers that were always in my mind heading into this race. It was Ryan Blaney, it was Jimmie Johnson, it was Kyle Busch, and Matt Kenseth. Those 4 guys were very close in the points. I felt like it was going to be between them to see who wins well, not who wins, but who gets into the round of 8. I feel it would be between those 4 guys. I thought everyone else was pretty safe. Boy, was I fucking wrong. Let's start out in stage 1. The stage was pretty calm. There was one thing that happened. It was a Martin Truex Jr. penalty. So basically what happened here is in the drivers meeting, they were told that you can't go below the white line before the start finish line, as that will count as changing your lane, and that's only for the front row. So you can, well, how do I explain this? You could go below the white line if you were in the back, but you're not allowed to pass anyone. But on the front row, it's their job to determine how the lane, I don't know, it's a really weird gray area. And bottom line is, Martin Truex Jr. got penalized. As you guys can see on the video, I thought Kevin Harvick would get penalized too, but apparently Kevin Harvick is just following Truex, and that's okay. But what doesn't make sense to me is if the 9th place car in the 4th row decided to go down there, would he get penalized? So, again, that's just a gray area that NASCAR really needs to fix. But yeah, Martin Truex Jr. had to make a pass-through penalty. The big story of stage 1. I'm really sad about this because no one saw it coming. If you didn't see the race, I guarantee you didn't see this coming. Kyle Larson, his engine gives out. He has a mechanical, and he's done. He's done. I mean, once at that moment, he would need a lot of help getting into the playoffs, have a lot of other drivers get issues, but at this moment, Kyle Larson, his playoff hopes are pretty much done, and it sucks because, I mean, I think Larson's one of the best drivers out there, if not the best, and not having him being able to show his talents at Homestead is going to be pretty disappointing for me, and I feel like for everyone else, it just sucked. It sucked to have someone lose their playoff chances because of engine failure. But then again, you could look back at Talladega and be like, well, if you didn't get involved in that wreck and you just ran around and got a top 10, you still would have made it. So it's how it works. Sometimes it's just how it is, and it sucked. But yeah, huge story of the race at the end of stage 1. Kyle Larson blowing up, and that was basically the end of his playoff chances. If, you know, everything else kind of went normal, you'd need a lot of drivers to get to have help to make it through. So the stage 1 results, very simple. This was very important too, because again, like I can't emphasize this enough. Stage racing, stage points, just so huge. Kyle Busch, Kevin Harvick, Denny Hamlin, Ryan Blaney, Jamie McMurray, Jimmie Johnson, Chase Elliott, Truex, Kenseth, and Eric Jones. Names that I see that are very important. They're obviously Kyle Busch. He gets the 10 points that he needed to get over to that round of 8 position. Kevin Harvick doing what he's been doing this entire round, is being consistent. Denny Hamlin also being consistent. Ryan Blaney doing what he needs to do, starting from last and going all the way to 4th in the first stage. Very, very impressive. Jamie Mack in 5th. Jimmie Johnson, Chase Elliott. Jimmy kind of needing to do a little bit more in my opinion. Chase Elliott adding pretty solid day, kind of just doing what he needs to do. He was 20 points up to the good, kind of like Denny Hamlin, who was around 21 to the good. They were just doing what they had to do, running the top 10, they'll be fine. Truex was able to get back to 8th, and Matt Kenseth and Eric Jones round out the top 10. Matt Kenseth needing to get some playoff points as well. In stage 2, we had another issue with Martin Truex Jr. He pitted for a vibration, so he had a really fast car. He just kept having issues. First the penalty, then the vibration on the green flag. And he was able to stay on the lead lap, though, so he didn't really lose a lap there. Now, the end of stage 2 was really interesting because what happened was a caution came out, again, near the end of the stage, but this time NASCAR was going to restart the race with 1 lap to go in the stage. It would be a 1-lap little shootout, and it was a pretty long green flag run before that, so Jimmie Johnson decides to stay out, and I think a couple other guys decide to stay out. Denny Hamlin decides to stay out. I think Brad Keselowski decided to stay out as well. Now, those guys, they're basically banking to get stage points because there's only 1 lap. Everyone else decides to pit, including Matt Kenseth. So Matt Kenseth and Jimmie Johnson were really fighting on that bubble line because Kyle Busch was doing well. Those two were fighting on the bubble line for much of the race, and Jimmy not pitting and Kenseth pitting was going to be a pretty big turn. In the end of stage 2, Jimmie Johnson went from 2nd to, I think it was 10th, and he got 1 point, but not really that much. Denny Hamlin was the big winner out of there because he won the stage. So let's go to the stage 2 results. Denny Hamlin wins it. He stayed out. He had a pit at the end of the stage, but still stays out, gets 10 points. This time, if there was any doubt about Denny Hamlin not making it through, this basically solidified he's going to get through. Kevin Harvick, again, with another second place. I mean, Kevin Harvick is a sleeper for this year's championship. Brad Keselowski in third, Matt Kenseth in fourth. Kenseth getting the edge on Jimmy Johnson because you see Jimmy in 10th. So that's very important there. Kyle Busch in fifth, doing what he needs to do. Eric Jones in sixth. Jamie Mack in seventh. Ryan Blaney and Chase Elliott doing what they need to do. Ryan Blaney still kind of flirting with the edge, but he's doing what he needs to do. Chase Elliott doing what he needs to do, and Jimmy Johnson still needing to do a little bit more. Jimmy Johnson would go for a spin that would change a lot of things here, because we thought once you see this spin, we thought his splitter would just tear up in the grass, and it somehow didn't. I don't really know how it didn't, but hey, I mean, he got away with it. So Jimmy goes through the grass, and then again he goes on to another wreck right after that. I think the caution right afterwards, or the lap right after that, he goes on another spin, doesn't really hit the wall, so he's still good there. And yeah, he just had to replace some tires, and he was still kind of safe because of the Kyle Larson issues. So it was all very just really weird day for Jimmy. Right after the second Jimmy Johnson wreck, the big one happened. Now, all I want to say is the reason why NASCAR removed Talladega from the elimination race is so it would remove the unpredictability. Well, guess what? It still happened. So can you please put Talladega back in the elimination race spot? Please. Thank you. But here's the big one. Eric Jones overcorrects. He's done that a couple of times now in his rookie season, but he overcorrects and takes out a lot of cars, and it's a big one. I thought more cars were going to get involved in it. It was pretty crazy how some guys got away with it, but the big one, the big contender that was involved in this wreck was Matt Kenseth. And we'll get into his details a little bit more, because Kenseth was fighting with Jimmy pretty much the entire race in that little bubble line. And I mean, damn, like, there goes Kenseth. But the car didn't have too much damage, so it was interesting to see if they could get it back out. But here's the thing. There's a rule. It's called you can only have 6 men over the wall when repairing damage when you're on the 5-minute clock. And you could see here that Matt Kenseth had 7. The penalty for that violation is that you are done. You get sent to the garage, and you're DNF, and that's it. So that is literally the end of Matt Kenseth's hopes, and that was the biggest sigh of relief for Jimmy Johnson, because that was one of his main rivals out. A couple of guys that got through the wreck that was amazing. Dale Earnhardt Jr. somehow again escapes another wreck. He's been slipping his way through these wrecks the last 2 weeks. He did a fantastic job. And then Denny Hamlin with the cool GoPro on his helmet. I love this camera shot.
Get low, get low, get low. Stay where you are. Check up, check up, check up, check up.
He's able to just shimmy his way through. You can see the wreck happening in front of him, and he gets through it as well. After that huge wreck, and after the Matt Kenseth debacle and all that good stuff, it was kind of a tame race. There were little details going on here and there. Jimmy Johnson still trying to fight his way back. Kyle Busch getting caught a lap down during green flag pit stop. Or not, well, yeah, he got caught a lap down during green flag pit stops, took the wave around, but was able to come back and finish 10th, so he was fine. And in the end, Martin Truex Jr. would just pull away for the win. He got himself back up after the two penalties, and he would just kind of just go ahead. I mean, the one penalty and one vibration. He would just go ahead and win it. And I mean, it was a pretty tame finish to a very kind of crazy race. So that's really all to say about that. Let's take a look at the race results. Truex finishes first. Kurt Busch was a really good run. I don't really know where he came from, to be honest, but he was able to finish second. Ryan Blaney doing exactly what he needed to do today, finishes third. In fourth, Chase Elliott. I mean, he did exactly what he had to do. Pretty quiet day, honestly. I mean, he didn't really do much. He just kind of hovered around the top 10, then top 5, and had a pretty solid car at the end. So he does what he needs to do. He advances. Denny Hamlin, he gets into the round of 8, and he advances with a solid top 5 finish. Chris Buescher somehow finished 6th. I truly don't know how he ended up there. Someone's got to explain that to me, but fantastic run for him. Dale Earnhardt Jr. somehow gets to 7th. He was actually running up in the top 10 for a lot of the later part of the race, so he did a great job today. Kevin Harvick in 8th, kind of lower than what he was expecting. Eric Almirola with a solid top 10 finish. Again, a couple of surprising names here. Kyle Busch in 10th. He had to come back from the wave around late in the race, so he should have finished much better and even contended for the win, but because of that wave around, he had to finish 10th there. Jimmy Johnson doing just enough. I mean, he got lucky with Kyle Larson and Matt Kenseth having issues, because Jimmy would have been eliminated if Kyle Larson was just able to just continue. So, I mean, that's just lucky for him. He moves on to the round of 8 somehow. Paul Menard in 12th, good finish for him. Brad Keselowski 13th, Austin Dillon 14th, Case Kane 15th, and then the rest of your results are going to be shown as well. And overall, it was a pretty good race. I thought it was kind of dull at points. I mean, if it wasn't for the caution, breathe caution, and then the huge wreck that would shake things up, if it wasn't for Kyle Larson, blowing the engine, it would have been a very predictable race, I think. But when Kyle Larson blew that engine, it was all craziness. And I guess the one thing I have to rant on, I mean, the one and only thing, again, I love you, Steve Letarte. I love you, Jeff Burton. You guys do great in the booth, but goddamn, Rick Allen is pissing me off. At one point late in the race, he literally said, and the Busch brothers up in front at Kansas, Kurt Busch was running second and Truex was in first. I did not know Martin Truex Jr. and Kurt Busch were related. And yeah, so I'll just rant on about Rick Allen in my own head. I mean, I don't need to say anything more. Everyone knows. You guys all know. We kind of all want Alan Bestwick to be there. Not Rick Allen, but I mean, whatever. It is what it is. If that's the only thing I have to rant about, it's a good thing. So, I mean, I don't want to rant about the cars or, you know, something dumb that NASCAR did. I don't have to rant about that. It's just the commentator. That's it. If that's the only thing I got to rant about, it's a good rant. Here are your standings for the round of 8. So this is how the points are going to be heading into Martinsville and Phoenix and Texas and those 3 races. So Truex has a huge lead. He has a pretty good lead over Kyle Busch and Brad Keselowski and Kevin Harvick. I mean, Truex can finish last in a race and still be around 4th place. So that is nuts. And I mean, I think he'll make it a Homestead. He has to have 2 catastrophic races to be in trouble. And I think he'll be fine. I think he'll win a race in the round of 8. So I think he'll be just good. The guys I'm worried about, I think Denny Hamlin could do pretty well. I'm not really worried about him. And Jimmy Johnson I'm worried about. Ryan Blaney I'm worried about. Chase Elliott I'm worried about. I'm not worried about Chase Elliott on speed. I think he's fine on speed, actually. It's just that he did not do good enough in the regular season to get those playoff points. He did not win a race. And he's won 6 stages. That's how he gets those playoff points. But still, it's just not good enough. I mean, you know, he's going to probably have to win. I don't see him, unless he is absolutely phenomenal in this round in terms of consistency, getting the stage points and finishing like top 3. I don't see him getting in on points. It's going to be really hard. So guys like Denny Hamlin, Jimmy Johnson, and Kevin Harvick, they could still get in on points. But for Chase Elliott, it's going to be hard. It's going to be very hard. I think he's going to have to win a race. I think Kevin Harvick can continue doing what he's going to do. He's been doing it this entire playoff round, and I think he's been pretty good in terms of consistency. He hasn't won, but he's been very good in terms of consistency. I would pick him as the 4th guy that gets in, along with Truex, Kyle Busch, and I think Brad Keselowski will do just fine getting in as well. But those, like I said, from 5 through 8, it's going to be hard. I don't see Jimmy doing anything. If he can do anything, it has to be at Martinsville. It has to be like a Jeff Gordon 2015 scenario where Jimmy goes to one track he's really good at and is able to win. Because Martinsville is not really about what you're doing throughout the entire season. If you're good at Martinsville, you're always good at Martinsville. So Jimmy Johnson and Denny Hamlin have to be looking at Martinsville and have to be like, all right, that's my track. I got to go try and win that race, and I'll make the round of 4. It's simple as that. And guys like Ryan Blaney, Chase Elliott, they're going to have to look at taking risks to win the race. And Chase Elliott has shown the speed week in and week out. He has 3 second-place finishes in the playoffs already. If he could finish top 3, if he could finish top 3 at the end of the race and top 3 in the stage racing, then maybe he has a pretty good chance to get in on points, as there will be someone that gets in on points. So it's going to be very interesting. It's going to be a crazy round, and it's always one of the more intriguing rounds right before Homestead because really you can't predict it. It's going to be very hard. I mean, Kyle Larson got eliminated. I mean, who was going to predict that? So yeah, that is that for the Kansas race review. It was a hectic one. Guys, comment down below. Let me know what you thought. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Instagram so we communicate during the race and stuff. Or if you just like me. Or if you hate me, that's cool too. I really wish you'd like me. Subscribe if you're new. And like the video if you enjoyed it. And I'll see you guys later. I think, we're going to Martinsville next week. And Martinsville is my favorite track on the circuit. So I'm going to have a lot of fun with that race, watching it. And hopefully one day I could go to Martinsville because I love that track. I'll see you guys later. Hope you're having a great day. Peace out.
I can't change. Even if I tried, even if I wanted to, and I can't change. Even if I tried, my love, she keeps me warm.